Fairness first video. First video, responding to comments, something like that. Um, there's always subjects. So again, the first point to be made is that the first purpose of a third party is to fix or reform the voting system so third parties can be viable. So we get rid of the spoiler effect, that is instant runoff voting. Another huge fix would be to fix the idea that we vote our geography rather than our ideology. We should be able to vote for senators outside of our state. We just want to vote for people who have the right politics. We don't want to be, it shouldn't matter what state they're in. It shouldn't matter what state they're from. It should matter what their policies are. So anyway, but most people, I've already said way too much. Because most people don't have enough understanding of the concept to even understand what a democracy is, what a representative republic is, what the whole idea is in terms of one man, one vote, and the whole idea of trying to create representative government. That is, government represents people, not one majority gets to win all the elections. Yeah. Anyway, so one idiot says, rude, obnoxious slob. So I didn't post his comment because he's just a jerk. So anyway, if an American company wants to hire an immigrant and an apartment landlord wants to allow an immigrant to rent, then the government has no right to step in and say he can't do these things. Of course we do. We're paying for the public education. We're paying for the roads. We're paying for the street lights. We're paying for the clean air. We're paying for the clean water. We're paying for all the kind of stuff that makes civilization possible, jackass. And we do that through collective taxation. So anything that's going to affect that infrastructure, that is, tax it, destroy it, we as a civilization has decided we will not allow children to beg on the street. All right, we're not going to have it, So if there's some child sitting on a curb somewhere in dirty clothes, the fact is our civilization is going to tend to want to fix that. It's not going to like it, so we're not going to let it happen. That's right. So it's going to cost us money to fix it. And the simple fact is that if we allow immigrants to do anything they want, and we allow landlords to do whatever they want, then we'll end up with slums. We'll end up with things that are going to tax the resources, that are going to pollute the water, that are going to destroy the quality of life. And as a group, we have democratic processes which we can argue these things. So if you want to argue in defense of chaos and dirt and filth and children not being raised properly, go ahead and make the argument, but you're not going to win that argument. You're going to lose it decisively. Because the vast majority of people want civilization. They don't want debauchery and welfare state and slop and children raised ignorant, stupid, and criminal. No, they want to upgrade people. They want to do everything we can to make sure people are as nice and decent as possible. And we know that environments are what creates people. And so we're going to make sure the environment is correct. So we have every right to say you're not allowed to be in the country if you don't have legitimacy. Having done through a legitimate process, we have a right to say you really don't belong here. We're sorry you don't like it where you live, but you can't come here and do whatever the hell you want. That's how you ruined your own country. Sorry, but that's just the fact. Okay? Reckless reproduction is what's ruined all these third world countries, because they don't take any responsibility for the mess they're making, the pollution they're creating. So, fuck you. You're going to have to win the argument. So you think you can just say, I'm not going to pay attention to what the majority want. I'm not going to pay attention to what the majority of my neighbors say. You're just going to be defiant. Well, then all you're going to be is expensive and dead. Okay, so good luck with that, moron. All right. This is so obvious. There's nothing obvious about it. You either believe civilization requires work or you think it's free. It just automatically happens. You just let people do whatever the fuck they want and it's a civilization automatically. It just pops right out of the chaos. No, that's exactly the prescription for failure. It's been shown over and over and over across the world. Anyway, I'm embarrassed to have to explain it. There's nothing, you didn't explain anything. You didn't explain how unregulated immigration works. You didn't explain how You can have a welfare state and public education. It's very expensive, by the way. You know, $15,000 per kid per year, maybe more than that now, closer to 20 or 25 on average. That's a lot of money. That means your property taxes get gigantic to pay for this crap, moron. And we can just give that away for free all over the world. You know, if they come here, then they get it. If they don't come here, they don't get it. But the point would be is if they stay in their own country, we paid for it. You think we can afford to do that? I mean, we already have kids in this country that don't have a roof, don't have a house, don't have an apartment, are living in a shelter. Where's the evidence that we have all this surplus to take care of all the world's refuse? There's no evidence of that. All right. If this is the future of third parties in America, oh, you mean the future of third parties, what is they want representative governments. That is, they would like to ask the people what they think, the majority of people, and let the majority of people actually answer the question. Instead of having to pick a stupid party that is not an answer and not an answer, you know, wrong answer and worse answer, they'll be able to actually say, this is what we would like done. Okay, we would like it done the right way, and vote for the right way. That's the future of third parties, is actually representing what the majority of people would prefer be done. And if there's some minority that has an argument, let it make the argument and win the argument. Let it convince the majority it's right. Okay. Then I want nothing to do with third parties. Well, you know, they probably don't want much to do with you either, because you don't sound like a person who understands what civilization is, you know, and how nice it is, okay, to have clean water and not to have, you know, some lunatic living next door to you who might burn your house down. If you really believed in free speech, I believe that speech should only be free as long as it's honest. I don't think there's anything honest about anything you're doing. Your question is bizarre. Who do you represent? What majority, what underrepresented majority do you think you represent? You know, because it's not a majority. Okay, then you'd post this and offer a rebuttal. But I think we both know that why that ain't happening. So, you know, I don't have to accept your insults and your lies. I have nothing against free speech, but again, as soon as your speech is a bunch of lies and I have to answer lies, then you're wasting my time. I'm not obligated to answer your lies. You're just implied that I don't post comments or I don't address comments. I address them all the time. I'm just not here to sit there and take your fucking bullshit. If you can't make your comment and stay on the subject, but instead you got to insult me, then you're wasting my fucking time, retard. I don't come to your house and knock on the door and say, why are you such an ugly fuck? I don't sit there and knock on your door and say, oh, why is your dick so small and why does your ass smell so bad? You know, fuck you. None of my business. So that's just great. You're not even you're afraid to even be accountable for what you say, and yet you want free speech. Free speech with no accountability. So you can just write it on your car, you know, your N-words and the rest of it, right? And not take any responsibility. You know, fuck you. You're an idiot. No, I don't need to save that. All right. Well, the comment I did accept. I wanted your input. Okay. With Biden in office now, yeah, well, it's better than Bernie Sanders, but it still isn't good enough, right? It's just funny that people complain that Biden's too conservative, when clearly he's really liberal, and clearly he's been forced to become even more liberal, which is really irritating. But anyway, I mean, I'm a liberal person, right? I want social liberty. I don't want retarded liberty. And all this has become is the Democrats have become a special interest collection, a collection of special interest groups, special people with special circumstances, and they all want extraordinary rights. They want, you know, pay millions of dollars so I can have a sex change. Pay this, pay that, pay. Yeah, they're glorifying welfare and stupidity, and they're even worried about criminals. I mean, real criminals, you know. Like, there's lots of innocent people that are homeless right now, you know, and they're worried about real criminals getting it too rough. I mean, it's just a little too silly. Anyway, Trumpers going away soon. Well, the Republicans aren't going away, but that's the definition problem, right? Now, I would argue a ton of these Trumpers are just they're the old working class. They're just Joe Blow guy, union worker who's been screwed over, and he sees that liberals don't care about working people. They don't want an earned economy, and these union types, they kind of like the idea of earning it. They like being advancing in their job because they gained more skills and they get a better salary. They don't like this free salary for no work. Oh, just because I showed up to work, I get an automatic pay increase. They don't really go for that kind of crap. Okay, and they don't go for this crap that every job is the same, because they're not the same. Okay, 8 years of medical school is a little bit different than, yeah, I fucked some 15-year-old chicks, I did some pot, then I showed up with my give me a job form. Give you a job as a what? An asshole? A herpes distributor? No, it's not all equal. So there's a lot of Trumpers who want the rich to be taxed. They want a fair economy. They want an earned economy. They're this men type, you know what I mean? They want a real fight. Okay, so they're convincible. They're not automatically retarded. They're not Christian lunatics. They're not fucking capitalists. They're not looking for ways to cheat. And it's the fact that the liberals have turned into assholes that they can't stomach them. I mean, they're sitting there and they are doing this sissy bullshit. They're just so pussy and protect me from everything. I mean, here they are trying to make it so Trump can't get elected again. What do you mean? If the majority of the country wants to elect the asshole, why should they tell the majority of the country they can't elect the asshole? I mean, that's just too fucking goddamn undemocratic. So, I mean, they're starting to represent principles that they were on the opposite side. And all of a sudden now they've changed all the game. They didn't want term limits. They didn't want these things because they said, yeah, why shouldn't you be able to vote for somebody 10 times if you want to for 100 years? You want to just keep electing a dead guy. It should be our prerogative. Shit. So again, 20 years ago, the Democrats were fighting against immigration because they knew it destroyed the wage base and they knew it was just driving wages down and it was just creating an exploitation economy. And now somehow they don't think there's such a thing as an exploitation economy. They think it went away somewhere. They know the minimum wage hasn't risen the same as the salary base hasn't risen at all, like how rich the rich are getting. The rich have gotten insanely much richer, while the working class has gotten less rich. Those are the realities, and what are they doing? They're just trying to make the problem worse. So, yeah, there's a lot of Trumpers, but they're not Trumpers deep in their heart. Okay, you've made them into Trumpers by being so stupid as liberals. All right, do you see ourselves repeating this cycle when the Democrats lose the House? So you're saying they're going to lose the House. That isn't a written rule, Biden might actually be rational and do rational things, and but who knows? We have to wait and see. I mean, clearly, I don't think there's any way he can get out of the mess that the economy's in. And, it's going to take some ugly turns because there's no way you can keep borrowing the money. You can't put any more in the Federal Reserve. You can't use FDIC insurance to guarantee any more sloppy junk bonds. So there's going to be some real failures out there. And those real failures are going to be expensive. There's going to be real bankruptcies. And the real bankruptcies are going to mean a lot of people aren't going to get paid. And it's going to get messy. All right. So, yes, they might lose the House, but I don't know it depends on how they do it, frankly. If they do it by increasing immigration and increasing taxes, they're really going to be in trouble. Okay, in the Senate and the midterms, and we get you don't get worse than Trump. I mean, how do you get worse than Trump? I mean, you can't even pick a human being on earth that would be dumber than Trump. I mean, who could it possibly be? I really don't even see it, frankly. I don't see it. Yeah, I mean, even that guy with the horns, that was sitting in the speaker's chair, he could probably do better than Trump. Like candidate in 2024. Look, we know there was only one issue that got Trump elected. Just one. Immigration. That was it. There was no other issue that got Trump elected. So let's not play any games or talk any horse shit. It's one issue. And yeah, if the Democrats are going to cling to it, we love all immigrants, and we don't care whether they're legal or illegal. We don't care how they got here. They don't care what they've done. They don't care what crimes they commit. If they keep talking like that, they're not going to get elected. So yes, they'll just keep driving rational people out of the Democratic Party. So if they keep doing that, they're doomed to failure. That's true. I hate Bernie Sanders. Well, I don't hate him, but he's totally unrealistic. You know, it's just like, oh yeah, we could just spend $1 zillion and just pick it out of the $1 zillion tree. Ocasio Cruz Cortez, I don't know who that is. And the squad, yeah, I know there's that AOC thing and some other, the new progressive Democrats, who just don't care how you finance anything and just think every human being on earth is a wonderful thing, and we ought to just sit there and spend all the money we can to teach them how to raise their own kids and do this and do that. And yeah, no, you can't do that. But do you believe persuading those people into a third party cause is feasible? Well, you can fool them, I suppose, right? I mean, those are really, the progressives are a special interest, okay? They just care about defectives, okay, of all kinds. Whether they're criminals or they're this or they're uneducated or whatever. Anybody who's defective, they somehow think deserves to be a millionaire or something. Deserves some sort of praise for being defective or whatever. Some unlimited amount of compensation for being defective. And it just can't work that way. And so it's so impractical. So those people, yeah, you're not going to be able to convince them to vote for third parties, because if they know third parties means we have a better democracy and the majority wins, the actual majority, what people actually want the law to be is what the law is, then they're really going to say, oh, I don't want anything to do with that, because that won't protect their special interest. They won't be able to use the big giant Democratic Party. They won't be able to extort it anymore. And so they'll be out of luck. And so they're not going to vote for it if they know that. Right? But you could probably fool most of them, because they're not politically savvy enough to know how the system actually works, and that the two-party system is really the special interest system. The special interest of the right-wing Christians, the special interest of the billionaires, the special interest of the inheritance wealthy, versus the other collection of special interest douchebags. All right. Thank you. Been watching for 13 years. So I guess I could read it twice. Yeah, it doesn't seem like a long enough video. But anyway, yeah, I can keep it short. I can prove I can make a short video by doing this was a short video. I don't think there's anything else. I did a video on money on the other channel, the Do Not God channel, so you can go look that up if you wish. For this date, January 27th. And, just pointing out how we're really in, so there's a lot of shit to get through. And some of it's just, you just don't, there's no recovery plan here. The boat has got catastrophic holes in it. And there's almost like there's just no plan that's going to actually work, But we'll see. We'll see. And like I said, politically, maybe this just can't work. Because the liberals won't wise up. They won't, play a right, straight up game, where they're rational. And accept that it's just too expensive to do all the stuff they want to do and all the free they want to have. It's just there is no free lunch counter somewhere. All of it has to be paid. And they don't have the guts to take it from the rich, so they end up taking it from everybody else, and that just creates a bunch of resentment. It's just a fact. I mean, you're just making everybody. You're just making it too obvious. The price tag's too obvious. You just, like I said, it's almost $9,000 just to breathe. Just to be able to have a house. I haven't paid for food or heat or anything, just $9,000 just in paying for other people's kids in property taxes, paying for police, paying for all this horse shit. Anyway, a tiny percentage of it having something to do with some service I might actually like filling a pothole. I'm paying $100, I'm only getting $10 back. How bad does that ratio have to get before I say I'm jumping ship? And I'll vote for anybody who says I'm going to cut that shit out. I'm going to quit paying for all that crap. Like I said, the liberals are sort of inviting anybody reasonable to say, I'm getting the fuck out of here. These people are crazy. They're writing this, they're just writing checks, with signing my name to them. And I know this stuff costs money. I'm not pretending it doesn't. So why do you keep writing these checks for things we can't afford? Oh, too stupid. So anyway, it's going to be an interesting, where does it go from here? But I mean, like I said, most of the Trumpers, I can't imagine why, even if I was even if I really, really, even if I thought immigration was the only subject and it was worth making the rich richer to have less immigration, even if I thought that was a fair trade-off, and to have more religious judges, that was a fair trade-off, even if I thought that, Trump is such a despicably, lame character. I mean, he's such a failure in so many ways. He's such a fake human being that, you got to wonder how people could, even if they just want less immigration, how they could pretend to put Trump's name on anything, or to think Trump meant anything, or they had any sincerity, or they was going to really fix anything. How could they be that stupid? So it is hard to imagine. Like, you almost wouldn't want them back in the Democratic Party, because, God, how fucking dumb could you be? Put that asshole's name on your head? Oh, Christ, this fake billionaire who inherited it. And these are people talking about an earned economy, and their chief, their idol, is some douchebag who'd be absolutely nothing without daddy's money. I mean, he would fail as a frickin' short order cook. Trump would have died without daddy's money, because he can't do anything. He's unfunctional. He's a psychotic kook. Oh, sorry, I just can't get it. I can't get how anybody rational could admire that hunk of fucking lying shit. Oh, such a despicable character. It's painful to imagine that people could make him into a hero. Oh, disgusting. Yeah. Well, anyway. I endeavor to persevere. Yeah, that's all I can do. So I'll do that. I'll endeavor to persevere. So anyway, this has been a Fairness First video presentation and such. So till the next time and such.